All right, folks, Yishai Fleischer here. And as I'm recording this, 3 Israeli hostages are set to be released from Gaza, from captivity, back to their families and back to Israel. It is a very emotional moment. This is live right now, and the folks everybody's waiting with bated breath. They're waiting with bated breath to see these hostages coming out of Gaza after over a year of captivity, almost 500 days of hell that is indescribable. And there are so many more captives that need to come out, and the deal is afoot. The problem is that we are being shown one side of the picture. We're being shown the good side, which is our hostages coming home. But what is the price that's being paid? What is the price that's being paid? Let's take a look at how Hamas is celebrating this hostage release. They're releasing a few hostages, but in return, they're getting over 1,000 hardened killers, terrorists, and terrorist supporters. Let's take a look. So that was a procession in southern Gaza today. And one of the war goals, as you recall, was the destruction of Hamas and to ensure minimally that they won't be a military power controlling Gaza. And yet, as you saw in that video, that is not the reality. Already, there are videos making fun of Prime Minister Netanyahu with that same procession. Take a look at this video, which I think says a lot. Hamas is not going to rule in Gaza, says Prime Minister Netanyahu, but the background is of Hamas showing their might in Gaza. We are destroying its military capability, says Netanyahu, and yet obviously there's military capabilities that you see in the background. He says in a very impressive way, not so impressive. We're going to get rid of its ruling powers. And our hand is still strong. We're going to get rid of them altogether. Hamas will not be in Gaza, says Netanyahu. Okay, so that is a video that was put out today on the Israeli internet, basically recognizing that the promises and goals of the war have not been met. Hamas is very much empowered in Gaza as of this moment. Will that change? Will there be another strike at Gaza? Will the war be renewed? Possibly. But at this moment today, Hamas is celebrating to the pain and anguish of so many people. Not only are they celebrating the release of their terrorists, but they're also receiving much more food into Gaza. These are trucks waiting to go into Gaza filled with food. This is on the Israeli side. He says, this driver's saying it doesn't stop. This long procession of aid, so-called humanitarian aid to the terrorists. That's not humanitarian in my book. That's aid to terrorism in my book. That's not humanitarian assistance. Look at all these trucks filled with food, all heading towards Gaza, one after the next. All right, so we got a sense of how much food is coming in there. Now, I want to show you something that you're not going to see in any video. All right, do you see this? This is a little photograph album that a friend of mine got out of Gaza, a soldier in Gaza. I want to show you some of these pictures. This is from a house in Gaza, a regular house in Gaza. Do you see these pictures? I keep going. I just want you to get a sense. This is one album. Look. Babies with the Hamas flag. Okay? Babies with the Hamas flag. You see that? This is just one little album found at a house in Gaza. An average house. Here's how it ends off. Now, who's going to be released into Gaza? I have a list here, okay? This whole bottom part is a long list of some of the terrorists. I'll just read to you a few of them. Ahmed Barghouti, close aide and cousin of Marwan Barghouti, who was sentenced to 13 life sentences, leading a murder machine that launched attacks which killed 12 Israelis. He's being released. Wael Kassan, this guy and two of his friends, Wasim Abbasi and Muhammad Udeh, these guys were members of the Silwan cell in Jerusalem. They're responsible for attacks that murdered 35 Israelis, including an attack on Cafe Moment, which killed 11 Israelis in one shot. We continue with Zakaria Zubeidi, very famous guy. He's the former commander of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade in Jenin. He was responsible for a series of attacks, including the Likud branch in Beit Shan, which killed 6 Israelis. Abdallah Sharabati, Majd Zaatri, and Samir Al-Atrash, a series of attacks on buses, one in which 23 Israelis were murdered. And the list goes on. The murderer of Ari Fuld, he's being released today. Some of these released terrorists are going into not Gaza, not Turkey, but into regular Israel, into Judea and Samaria and eastern Jerusalem. Reprehensible. So while on the one hand, we have these beautiful sight of our sisters and brothers coming home, on the other hand, we see that the goals of the war to destroy Hamas have not been met. And many Israelis are wondering today, what was it all for? Weren't we meant to make sure that this never happens again? Never again? Are we not supposed to negotiate with terrorists? Isn't that part of the deal? We never negotiate with terrorists. A lot of people today are heartbroken at the weakness of this deal. Let's take a look at a famous international lawyer here in Israel, Nitzana Darshan-Leitner from the Israel Law Center, and how she understands this deal.
Things you need to know about the hostage deal. 1. This deal allows Hamas to release only 33 hostages out of the 98 they're still holding. These include women, children, and elderly captives. In return, Israel is expected to free up to 1,300 Palestinian terrorists. Does it sound fair? Trading so many dangerous terrorists for a fraction of the hostages does not bring justice or safety. 2. The deal includes a 42-day ceasefire. During this time, Israel stops its military operations. But let's be honest, Hamas will use this break to rebuild its terror infrastructure. They will rearm, regroup, and prepare for their next attack. A ceasefire without removing Hamas just gives them time to plan more violence. 3. President Biden worked hard to negotiate this deal, but President-elect Trump will oversee it. Both administrations are focused on brokering agreements, but here's the issue. Hamas is a terrorist group, not a trustworthy partner. Any deal must weaken Hamas, not give them breathing room to cause more harm.
Weaken Hamas? Destroy Hamas forever. That's what we're here to do, not weaken them. Even our best people have a hard time saying it. We got to get rid of them in toto.
4. Let's not lose sight of the big picture. Hamas will still hold over 65 hostages after this deal. What happens to them? A deal that doesn't bring every single hostage home is incomplete. Israel must ensure the safe return of all its citizens. 5. Hamas thrives on terror and destruction. Any agreement that doesn't lead to their permanent defeat is just delaying the next war. Israel's goal should be clear. Bring all the hostages home and make sure Hamas can never hurt anyone again. Israel should not have to compromise its security or leave hostages behind. Any deal must free all 98 hostages and ensure that Hamas is wiped out for good. Anything less is not a solution. It's a ticking time bomb.
All right, so that was Nitzana Darshan-Leitner, and I think that she's mostly right in the sense that any deal, we should bring them all home, all the hostages home. But I don't like that language because I don't think we should make any deals with them. I think we should do everything to rescue them, and that means actually stopping the humanitarian aid which falls into the hands of the terrorists. Right now, the best thing that we can hope for, if this deal continues to move through, is that the hostilities restart. That's right, that our fight with Hamas will continue, and that we'll continue to fight them in a few weeks until they're utterly destroyed. They should not ever control Gaza. And I'm going to say something here, which I've said consistently, but which my colleagues have a hard time saying, which is Israel, in the end of this, must control Gaza. It's our land, and we're the only ones who can govern it and make sure that terrorism doesn't take over that place. We're the only ones. The solution is a big and strong Israel. And yes, we can handle the welfare of the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Arabs that want to live in Israel as peace-loving, loyal residents of the state of Israel. Bad guys, they got to go. That's the solution. The solution is that Gaza returns to Israeli control and Israeli governance. That's the real deal that we should sue for. And I hope that the kind of next iteration of the Trump administration will see it this way as well. All right, folks, I hope you enjoy our effort to fight for Israel. Join us at fightforisrael.org. We've got a lot of projects that make a big difference to the future of Israel. So if you want to fight for Israel, if you're a fighter for Israel, wherever you are, and whatever your faith is or peoplehood is, it doesn't matter. If you love Israel and you want to fight for Israel, join us with all of our projects, including the Biblical Highway, the Abrahamic Faith, Tractors for the Holy Land, and of course, broadcasting courage and truth to the world. Join us at fightforisrael.org. You could also write me an email, Yishai at YishaiFleischer.com. And you could also buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Yishai if you love our programming and our efforts to bring you godly, awesome, and strong truth from the good land, the land of Israel. God bless you wherever you are. Stay strong, stay connected, stay faithful, stay part of the story. Lots of love and lots of blessings from the land of blessings. And shalom.